Hold up.
Every day I wake up, wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
Morning, everybody. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Let's start off with some quick sports. Now, they didn't put the score here on the game, but yes, Charlamagne just told you Indiana beat Miami last night. 21-27. It came down really to the last couple of plays, and Miami threw an interception. So, again, salute to Indiana and salute for the amazing season Miami had.
It felt good watching Miami compete for a national championship, man. It was very nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. Now, also over the weekend, NFL, the Rams beat the Bears. The Patriots beat the Texans.
I don't like that
Bills.
nostalgia. I don't need Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
It look like they going to get there. Looks like they going to get there.
Probably going to get to the Super Bowl, too.
Yeah, looks like they're going to get to the Super Bowl. But what's up, Mimi?
Good morning, Envy, Jess, Charlamagne. How y'all doing this morning?
Peace, Mimi.
Good morning, girl.
Good morning. All right, well, we start this morning in Minnesota where tensions are running high and the situation continues to escalate. Now, this all traces back to the fatal shooting of Renee Good, a mother of three and a U.S. citizen who was killed by an ICE officer in Minneapolis earlier this month. Now, since then, federal immigration enforcement has expanded across the city and protests have intensified. And now the federal response is also growing. The Pentagon has placed about 1,500 troops on standby as President Trump openly floats invoking the Insurrection Act. Now, that's a law that would allow federal troops to be deployed inside the U.S. Now, at the same time, the Justice Department is investigating Minnesota's top leaders. Federal officials are examining whether Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey interfered with federal immigration operations through public criticism of ICE and the federal handling of Good's death. Now, as protests continued over the weekend, they moved beyond the streets and into a church. On Sunday, demonstrators entered City's Church in St. Paul, interrupting services and chanting ICE out and calling for justice for Renee Good. Now, protesters say they targeted that church because they believe one of its pastors, David Easterwood, also leads the local ICE field office. Now, that protest is now the center of a federal investigation, pulling in former CNN anchor Don Lemon into the story. Now, he live streamed from inside the church on his YouTube channel, but the Justice Department says otherwise. They are accusing Lemon of embedding himself in the protests. Let's listen to the Civil Rights Chief of the Civil Rights Justice Department Chief.
Journalism is not a badge or a shield that protects you from criminal consequences when you are part of a crime. And I think the videos show how close he was to these folks. I think further evidence will show more information about that. But he clearly knew, and he stated before going into the facility, it's on his own video, what was going to happen there. What was going to happen was a violation of federal law. It's off limits to go into a house of worship to do your little protest. Protests can occur on public property. Protests can occur outside, on a sidewalk, certain sidewalks, not all sidewalks. There's a time, place, and manner restrictions on the First Amendment right of protest, and they were violated here in this case. No question about it. The only question is who was involved, how many were involved, and how many charges are going to be brought here. Those are the questions.
Now, this portion, and this is the portion of Lemon's coverage that the Justice Department seems to be pointing to, is part of what you just heard in that soundbite just there. Let's listen to that.
This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual.
So right now is kind of mayhem. We're not part of the activists, but we're here just reporting on them.
Did they explain to you why they're here?
They did not.
They said that there is someone here, Easterwood, who is a member of ICE, and he's a pastor of the church.
Our church had gathered for worship, which we do every Sunday. We asked them to leave, and they obviously have not left.
So that is the portion that the Justice Department is saying that Don Lemon was embedding himself into the protest by saying before that there was some secret operation happening. He was doing his reporting beforehand, before going into the church, and then he followed the protesters into the church. And after the scene inside the church, the administration says the protest is now under federal review, and investigators are examining possible violations of the FACE Act, and that's what makes it illegal to disrupt religious services. Lemon, he is pushing back on those accusations, saying that he was only there to report, not to participate, and noting that other journalists were also there. Let's listen to some of his pushback.
Did no planning. There's no evidence of any planning, but I was there covering the protesters. I flew into Minneapolis that morning. They were holding an event, and I said, well, why don't I just go with you guys to see what you're doing today? And they said, fine, come with us. And I chronicle it throughout my show live. I had no idea the planning. I didn't even know where we were going. Not that that even matters. Again, I'm a journalist. That's what I was doing. I talked to the people at the church. I talked to the pastor. I talked to the congregants. I talked to the protesters. And that's it. And then I left. Also, I wasn't the only journalist there, so I'm not quite sure how I became the face in the headline.
He clearly said that he wasn't part of that protest and he was just documenting.
He did say that. He said that a couple of times in the middle and towards the end when it was over. And so President Trump, he's also weighing in as well, reposting a message on Truth Social calling for Lemon to be prosecuted under that FACE Act that we just mentioned. And he's citing past cases that carried up to 40-year sentences on that.
Yeah, I don't like giving more attention to Don Lemon than we do the officer who killed Renee Good. Like, that's just a distraction from the officer, exactly. Jonathan Ross. Because what's up with that? Like, I saw Kristi Noem say the officer Jonathan Ross is under internal review, but then I saw an FBI agent say they're not going to investigate him. Then I saw Kristi Noem saying they shouldn't say the officer's name because people will dox him. Like, what the hell is going on, Mimi?
That is exactly, all of those things are going on. So the FBI had initially started investigating Jonathan Ross, and then they quickly pivoted, and now they're investigating her widow and see if she has any ties to any activists. And so that case is happening. And then at the same time, I saw on the Sunday programming where Kristi Noem did not want to give the name of Jonathan Ross, although it's public, right? Mm-hmm. She didn't want to say the name because she says that he will be doxxed and people will go after him, but we already know who it is. And so, it's the administration seems to be pushing people away from, what is really happening and finding distractions. Again, here we are because a journalist doing their job has no bearing on, what's actually really going on inside of ICE, right? I mean, inside of Minnesota, which is, those ICE raids and, all the protests and the things that we're seeing inside Minneapolis right now.
Yeah, because, protesters got to do two things, right? Like, yes, you can scream justice for Renee Good, but what does that look like? That looks like, arresting the officer Jonathan Ross, or at least calling for a real investigation of Jonathan Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. So we will continue to follow what happens with this, but again, sometimes things seem what's up is down and what's left is right. And so we have to kind of, dig a little deeper to find exactly what's happening with this administration and what's happening in the state of Minnesota. So coming up at 7, we'll unpack also the growing tensions in Greenland and why the Nobel Peace Prize is now part of that conversation.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Start off with sports. College championship game last night. Salute to Indiana. They beat Miami 27-21. Indiana's season was undefeated with 16-0. So salute to Indiana and also salute to Miami out there. Now, also, the NBA, they announced the All-Star starters for the 2026 game. And LeBron out for the first time in 22 years, LeBron is not a starter.
Not a shock.
So Giannis, Jalen, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese, Jaylen Brown, the Joker, Luca, Shai, Steph Curry, and Victor Wembanyama are all the starters. And quickly in football,
he missed the first 14 games.
Wow, he was hurt.
Yeah. Now, also, NFL, the Rams beat the Bears 2017. Patriots beat the Texans 28-16. The Broncos beat the Bills 33-30. And the Seahawks beat the 49ers 41-6. What's up, Mimi?
Good morning, MV. Jess, Charlamagne. How y'all doing this morning?
Peace, Mimi Brown.
Good morning. So we're following growing tensions between the U.S. and Europe this morning, sparked by President Trump's renewed push to take control of Greenland. So in a text sent over the weekend to Norway's Prime Minister, President Trump wrote that he does no longer feel obligated to think purely of peace. So writing in part, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 years of war plus, I no longer feel an obligation to purely think of peace, adding that he will now do what he believes in the best interests of the United States. Now, that message came after Norway's prime minister reached out urging de-escalation. The administration, though, is pushing back on the idea that this dispute is about the Nobel Peace Prize. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the president's focus on Greenland is about national security, not personal grievance. Let's listen to what he had to say.
And I think it's a complete canard that the president will be doing this because of the Nobel Prize. The president is looking at Greenland as a strategic asset for the United States. We are not going to outsource our hemispheric security to anyone else.
Well, Trump is also threatening tariffs, warning that as of February 1st, the U.S. could impose a 10% tariff on Denmark and other European countries, including Germany and France, unless Greenland is sold. Now, with those tariffs escalating to as much as 25% in June if there's still no deal. Now, Denmark and its allies, they've been sending small military forces to Greenland in response, and that pressure has also sparked protests with thousands marching in Denmark over the weekend. And European leaders warn that the standoff, it risks further straining NATO. And now they are scrambling to meet with President Trump tomorrow in Switzerland to try and calm the situation. So
yeah, the irony of not getting the Nobel Peace Prize and then declaring war. You're proving them
crazy.
Right. That's exactly why
crazy.
You don't deserve the goddamn Nobel Peace Prize. And also, too, when he says that, what did he say about Greenland? It's a national, what did he say? National security? What did he say?
He said it's a national... Were you talking about Secretary Scott Bessent or
no? You said
Trump.
Trump wants Greenland as a matter of national security.
As a matter of national security, yes.
But wouldn't going into Greenland threaten the national security of the United States?
Yes, it would.
Because it would make it would make our allies turn into our adversaries.
Mm-hmm.
It absolutely would. It would set off another war, literally, right? So we've got the threat of a global war. We have a civil war happening here within the United States, and we're talking about the Nobel Peace Prize.
It would break our unity with NATO. Like, so I don't understand the logic. But once again, I don't know why we keep trying to make logic out of illogical things. Like
Greenland only has 56,000 people as population, so it's not a huge place.
What is it?
Greenland.
It got what?
56,000 as a population. Has a key U.S. military base there, though, but that's...
I hear stuff like this, all I think to myself, what is in those Epstein files? What is in those Epstein files that makes him react like this and cause these type of distractions?
Absolutely, absolutely. And as the nation, we marked MLK Day yesterday. Dr. King's daughter, Bernice King, she is pushing back against a major shift already underway inside the Justice Department, and that's how civil rights are being enforced. So since President Trump has returned to office, the department has changed its focus, putting new emphasis on what it calls reverse discrimination. So that means prioritizing cases alleging discrimination against white Americans instead of focusing primarily on groups that have historically faced discrimination. And earlier this month, President Trump, he told the New York Times that civil rights protections and diversity programs they have harmed white Americans, claiming they have unfairly shut them out of jobs and college opportunities, a claim civil rights advocates they strongly dispute. And that argument is now driving federal action. So the Justice Department, they've opened investigations into affirmative action and diversity programs, including a probe into Rhode Island's their hiring practices, and a lawsuit, of course, against Minnesota, arguing that those policies violate the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So yesterday on MLK Day, Bernice King, she responded directly saying that the administration is misrepresenting both the history and the purpose of the Civil Rights Act. Let's listen to what she had to say.
The recent claim by President Trump that the 1964 Civil Rights Act harmed white Americans is just wrong, and it's dangerous. It rewrites history in a way that fuels fear and resentment. My fathers and so many leaders of the movement did not risk their lives to divide this nation. They did so because America was denying millions basic rights, the right to work, the right to vote, to live where they please, to move through society with dignity. The Civil Rights Act did not give black people special treatment. It made discrimination illegal.
Yeah. So, and former justice officials, they say that shift, that reverse discrimination shift, is already having an impact inside the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. They estimate about 75% of that division has left during the first year of President Trump's second term, raising concerns about whether civil rights laws will even be enforced in its entirety going forward. So, yeah, we'll see what that looks like as the Trump administration continues to push forward with reverse discrimination.
Lord have mercy.
And what were you saying, Charlotte?
I just said, Lord have mercy.
Yep. And finally, y'all, if your Instagram, we're switching gears a little bit. So finally, if your Instagram feed suddenly looks like it did 10 years ago, you are not imagining it. 2016, they are having a moment. Social media analysts say people from across different platforms are posting throwback photos of what many say are now 2016 was an iconic internet era. So users are digging through old camera rolls, Snapchat filters, and what's standing out isn't just how people looked, it's how similar the energy feels. So no matter what you wore, or where you lived, people are saying the energy from 2016, it feels fresh, it feels new, and it doesn't feel as heavy as it does right now. So researchers who study digital culture say 2016, it represents a different phase of the internet too. So before the endless scrolling, before algorithms dominated the feed, and before posting felt performative. They say back then people were largely just sharing content with friends in their community, not chasing engagement or brand deals. And they also say, life felt lighter. Social media felt fun. And for many, it was before the pandemic, before that constant news cycle, and before the internet started feeling heavy and exhausted. Have y'all noticed, or have you posted some photos from 2016 as well? Have you jumped on the trend?
I definitely did. 2016 was a very great year. 2016, that's the year I started going to therapy. It made a lot of good, lifestyle changes, and really asked God for some direction that God definitely gave to me. But also, to that point, 2016 was like the beginning of all of this, because that was the year that Trump and Hillary ran against each other, and Trump won his first term.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true. What about you, Jess? Have you been noticing on your feed the 2016 trend happening?
No, I hear people talking about it though, but no, I haven't participated or seen much of it yet.
No, I seen it all over the feed. I just didn't jump into it. I ain't had a time to look.
Yeah,
I ain't jump into it. But yeah,
2016 was a great year.
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, I've had a great decade, to be honest with you. My life is amazing. I don't know what to tell you.
That's great. I mean,
pick a year.
Amazing.
Pick a year. You know what I mean? I 2036. I hope we still here to look back at the last decade as well. To be honest with you,
my kids are good. I'm good. That's all that matters.
That's what I'm saying. Like life is great.
Life is amazing.
And I guess what it also reminds you is like, man, no matter what, God always has a bigger picture. And we're gonna be all right.
That's right.
Like we're gonna be okay.
Right. And
if we not, then that's God's will too.
Right. And what you also notice is like in 2016, maybe not y'all, but like how maybe like you'll be complaining about something, and you'll look around and be like, oh, why is this happening or this happening? And then 10 years later you'll be like, it wasn't that bad, because look now.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly. You can what you just said, Mimi. You can see why it happened. Like every single moment in your life plays a role. It's all just part of this beautiful process that we live that has us right where we need to be today.
True.
Yeah. And even now in 2026, we can't see it now, all the things that are happening, right? But like you said, Charlotte, in 2036, hopefully we'll look back and be able to pull the good from 2026 as well.
Right.
So absolutely. Very well said. All right, y'all. Well, that is your front page news. I'm Mimi Brown. Follow me at Mimi Brown TV. For more stories, follow the Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app or visit BINnews.com.
Thank you, Mimi.
Thank you.
Peace, Mimi.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?